Here are 3 guidelines for using supersets to be more time efficient in the gym. First, let's quickly review what supersets are. The idea is very simple. Instead of doing one set of an exercise, then resting 90 seconds, doing a second set, a second rest, a third set, and then going on to the next exercise, having done 3 sets and 3 rest periods, we can instead do one set of exercise A, then immediately perform one set of exercise B during the rest period for that first exercise. In this way, we can rest the muscles worked in exercise A while we perform exercise B, which can shorten your workouts by 20 to 50%, depending on how specifically you do this. Put another way, in that same 60-minute time frame in the gym, you can do 25 to 50% more sets or more exercises. It's a hugely useful tool for anyone trying to get the most out of limited training time. So here are 3 guidelines to use them effectively. While we go through this list, let us know in the comments what your favorite superset is and why. Number 1 is the exercises shouldn't use the same muscles. Obviously, if you did bicep curls, then follow them up with pull-ups, your performance in both is going to suffer because you're accumulating more work on the biceps, not more rest. Instead, we want to choose more complementary exercises. 2 categories of these are antagonist exercises, like pull-ups and overhead press, or push-ups and rows. These are movement patterns that look like the opposite of each other, like what you're watching right now with Zercher deadlifts for the posterior chain and hanging knee raises for the anterior chain. In addition to antagonist exercises, we can just do exercises that are unrelated. For example, you could do split squats and push-ups as a superset because one doesn't interfere with the other, even though they're not logical opposites. Where people usually have problems with supersets is with guideline number 2, which is that the exercises should not be both systemically fatiguing. This can be a problem if you're trying to push compound movements really hard. This is a reason why powerlifters don't do much squat and bench press supersets. Even though there's not significant muscle overlap, they're both very fatiguing when done hard, so pairing them doesn't make much sense. Luckily, there are 2 ways to work around this. First, you can pair a fatiguing movement with a lesser fatiguing movement, like with these Zercher deads and knee raises. The Zerchers are heavy, large range of motion, full body, and leave me cooked. But the knee raises, despite working the antagonist muscles, are lighter, smaller range of motion, and don't interfere with the recovery from the deads. So I like to do Zerchers, immediately into knee raises, and then take a 2-minute rest and repeat. You can also use a variation on supersets, which is called paired sets. Here we do exercise 1, take a short rest, exercise 2, take a short rest, and repeat. This is a good one when both exercises are fatiguing and you don't want one of them to suffer. It still saves overall time while allowing a longer overall rest between sets of the same exercise. This global fatigue reason is why supersets are often most effectively used on isolation exercises. Things like lateral raises, bicep curls, tricep extensions, calf raises, and grip work are all going to have very little interference with one another. Guideline number 3 is that the setup or equipment you use needs to be practical. Ultimately, you need to be able to perform these exercises with your available equipment wherever you work out. In my home gym, there's both limited space and limited equipment, so it's impractical to do a seated barbell overhead press out of my squat rack, then move the bench, take the heavy barbell off the rack and put it onto the ground so that I have room to do pull-ups, and then put it all back together for the next superset. So while that superset would be great in theory, in practice it doesn't save me any time or any energy. So instead, I just do dumbbell overhead press and pull-ups as my superset, and there's no need to move any equipment in between. Finally, if max performance is what you're after, the cost is more time, period. So whenever I really want to push myself, I'll either extend the rest time on my paired sets or drop them all together for a workout. Currently in my program, I'm using supersets and paired sets for 3 weeks at a time, and then the 4th week, I'll try to hit a new rep max. At which point, I drop the supersets to make sure I'm not carrying any unnecessary fatigue into my attempts. That's all for today, folks. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day, and let's get strong for life together.